Yeah, Larry, good evening. Much of what is inside the Mary Todd Lincoln House is not original. The house was in disrepair for many years before it was transformed into a museum in the 1970s. Now, the most famous person to have visited this house is this guy, Mary Todd's husband. But he only stayed here for about 3 weeks in 1847 as the family was traveling to Washington, D.C. The house, first and foremost, is about showcasing Mary and how she became the woman she did.
Considered by those who study her to be one of the most fascinating and enigmatic historical figures, Mary Todd will not be fully understood by the time this story is over.
But history is more complicated than a soundbite.
History is more than just about facts and dates. It's about the controversies, debates, analysis that emerge out of narratives that are often one-sided.
Quite frankly, a lot of them are really fundamentally sexist.
The Mary Todd Lincoln House executive director Gwen Thompson says no matter what she did, Mary Todd always seemed to be a target for detractors, even as she endured unspeakable tragedies.
There's those who criticize her for mourning too deeply Willie's loss, but then there's those who criticize her for, not.
Long before she was the subject of public scrutiny, Mary Todd was known as the child of Robert Todd, a prominent Lexington native immersed in local politics. Mary was the fourth of eventually 16 children born in her father's 2 marriages. The family owned slaves, and before he died, her father refused to free them.
Much of their prosperity and their comfort and their lifestyle was built upon the backs of other people. And those stories are relevant and deserve to be told.
Thompson says there are no written records that shed light on Mary's thoughts on slavery. What we do know is she was educated and took a strong interest in politics, often mingling with her father's prominent guests.
She was intelligent, she was vivacious, she was independent, and if anything, the American spirit has always been considered one of being fiercely independent.
A mutual interest in politics was one of many reasons she and a young lawyer in Illinois were drawn to each other. While she and Abraham Lincoln were building a life together, the country and her family were being torn apart.
The Todd family was a microcosm of what was happening to the nation.
8 of Mary's siblings defended the Confederacy. Mary and 5 of her other siblings supported the Union. Quite literally, a house divided. These family dynamics fueled unfounded speculation that Mary Todd was secretly a Confederate sympathizer. In reality, she was doing her part to try to preserve the Union and help the president, visiting troops and hosting balls at the White House.
And all that may seem very domestic and non-political, but it really was directly in support of his career.
But Thompson says behind closed doors in the White House, Mary Todd was struggling to stay afloat.
So this is my favorite artifact in the house because it's from the White House years, but it has nothing to do with them being president and first lady. It has to do with the personal trials, their being parents.
A silver repose mug is one of the few original items in the house. A government official gave it to Tad Lincoln after his older brother Willie died at just 11 years old.
I think it's important that we talk about her as a mother because it was a role that really mattered to her very deeply. She loved her children.
3 years later, Mary Todd was enveloped in a new cycle of grief after her husband's assassination. But Mary Todd's story doesn't end with his death.
It's very sad that they did not get to have a life together after his presidency. But she did have a life after his presidency, which largely is remembered as a sad one. But she did things that they wanted to do. She traveled to Europe twice.
There are so many things we still don't know about Mary Todd. Why was she institutionalized by her oldest son, only to be declared restored to reason a year later? And how did she feel about slavery? There's still a lot left to unpack about a complicated figure in American history. And Thompson says maybe what we don't know tells us a lot about her.
In some ways, that also embodies the American spirit in that we're complicated. We're all human. We all have virtues and vices. And she was a real person who had both sides of the coin.
Now, Mary Todd Lincoln's mental health has been subject of debate really since the day she died. You can learn more about that part of her life right inside there at her childhood home. It's open for self-guided tours Mondays through Saturdays. In Lexington, Mike Valenti, Evening Edition.